Yes, Judges.
Hello, Dan. How you doing? You
What are you
all
up to, bro?
I'm actually watching the football, mate. This Surfshark VPN is a lifesaver, mate. You can watch the football with a dodgy Wi-Fi, even at the Emirates when you've got a big crowd there and everything like that, watching the football. Unbelievable.
Easy to set up? Well, it must be if you've done it, mate.
Oh, very, very funny. Even abroad you can watch all your favourite programmes. It's like being at home, mate.
And that's exactly what you guys can do too. Click the link in the description for Surfshark VPN. Yes, we are back, people. Myself and Lead Judges, we're back on Lead Judges TV. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've all had a good day. And I thought we'd bring some content in relation to tomorrow's night's game because the games are thick and fast, Lee. Tomorrow night, we've got Luton. And some people are talking about us rotating. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit as well about Mikel Arteta's press conference saying that we pretty much have to be near perfect now if we do want to win the Premier League. So let's make sure that we get into it, guys. If you've got any questions for us, please make sure you put them in the chat. Smash a Q at the start of it so I know that it's a question. If you do throw a super chat in, then of course we will be putting you at the front of the queue. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to this. Two things are absolutely free. So hit the like and subscribe. And make sure you hit the pin comment as well for Surfshark VPN. You saw the little trailer there from me and the Judges talking about it. So make sure you do go and get it. All you got to do is click on the link or in the description and you will send you straight through to Surfshark VPN where you can purchase it. So make sure you get that. It is what you need. Big up to everyone that's come over from the terrace as well, which I was literally just on with LB talking about Man City and Arsenal, who, by the way, Judge, I will say that neutral fans are still very salty about Arsenal picking up a draw at the Etihad. I've never seen this much reaction from a 0-0 game in my life. Have you?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Even like, you know, I see Kachat, what's his name? Katanga. What's his name?
Who are we looking at? What's he played for?
Who played right back for them, like Katanji or whatever his name was.
Played right back for who?
For Man City. He was going like, what's his name?
I think who you mean now. Akanji.
Akanji, where he's playing, like, you know. He's turning around and going, all the little fouls that they've been doing, like, you know what I mean? Has he not played with Rodri for the last couple of years? You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Akanji. You know, by the way, I think he's a very good player. But
yeah, he's a very good player.
He not played with Rodri that, you know, gets away with it all the time. I tell you what, I watched the game back in full today. And you know, I had a little bit of go about the referee and all that, like, you know, and I still stayed by that he was definitely on their side. But he could have actually booked a couple of our players before that. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. Other than that, he gave us nothing. Every decision went their way. But he did. There was on probably 2 occasions he could have booked a couple of Arsenal players. And then I don't know if you noticed it, the little elbow that Rodri left on Gabriel. Like, you know, there was some. You actually. I've got to say this, Dan, when you watch it on TV, you don't see all those things, you know what I mean? Like when you're watching it at the game, you don't see it. I never even noticed that, like, you know. But, like, you know, nothing said about that. Just very, very salty and bitter about it. I don't really understand why, because other teams have done that and it's fantastic. You know, well defended, great points and, you know, and I'm, you know, when they say, you parked the bus, yeah, good. Oh, it's nice.
Absolutely, mate.
One, like, you know what I mean? Lovely, like, you know. And we wasn't that. Do you know? And the other thing is, what I've really found incredible, and a lot of Man City fans have been saying, you know, you can come there and that. Well, break us down then. Why didn't you break us down if you're that good? Why haven't you broke us down? You know, you've broken every other team down. Why have you not done it? And like, it's sort of like, I'll just slag off the Arsenal and forget about, you know. When we had it and we didn't do it against Newcastle, it's all well, you know, you got to be able to find a way. You got to find a way to break these teams down, which we probably have to do tomorrow at some stage. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and yeah, the criticism for it has been incredible. But do you know what? I don't care. It's just.
Do you know what? It's mad, right? People are saying, I weren't entertained. Oh, sorry, we'll send you some for sorry cards and flowers. You know, like, what is going on here? Is it our job to pick up points or entertain people? Like, what is going on here? Entertain the neutrals or pick up points to try and win a league? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, LB's just been on there now and said, well, if Arsenal don't win the league, they'll look back at that and go, why didn't you try and win it? No, we won't. We'll look back at West Ham and Fulham. We won't look back at Etihad. It's mad that people are thinking about this.
4 points we've took off of them, like, so no, we're not going to be going. We're not ever going to go looking back at disrespect for that. And I'll tell you another thing I'm going to say now. I think me and you have said this on numerous occasions, about Haaland, right? Is he the best goal scorer? I've always said it over the course of last year. I think he's a very, very good goal scorer, but I don't think he's as good as footballer as Harry Kane. I've always said that, right? Yep. And all of a sudden now, he's the worst player in the Premier. You know, the disrespect that Haaland is getting,
crazy.
Is unbelievable. Like, let's get this straight. I'm not no for him or against him, but I tell you what, I've a lot of admiration for him as a player. I think, as a goal scorer. Oh, he's a machine. He's scoring. Haaland's got 4. He's got 5 here and all that. Like, for Roy Keane to turn around and say he's a Division 2 player, he wasn't saying
he's had a stinker, mate. He's had a stink. I love Roy Keane. I think he's my favourite pundit. He says it how it is. 0 F's given. But that was a stinker, mate. Absolute stinker. This guy has been killing it in the Premier League, in Bundesliga, and at Salzburg, Dortmund, and at Man City. His Champions League record is elite. You look at what he's done. World records already being broken in the Premier League in his first season for how many goals he scored. League 2 level, everything else. Do you know what? I'll tell you this now, and I'm an Arsenal fan. I couldn't give a damn about Haaland. If I'm a Man City fan, I'm looking at Keane and I'm going, I don't really care if you think he's a League 2 player, mate. He's won us a treble. And he's top goal scorer this season and last season. I don't really care if you think he's League 2. His hold-up play, I don't think he's bad. He's a monster. I know he got pocketed by Gabriel and Saliba, but they didn't exactly... They gave him a good... it wasn't like it was easy for him. They made it look easy, but it weren't. Trust me. He's a monster of a man. He's a unit. He knows where the goal is. He can chest the ball. He can head a ball. He can use both of his feet. I don't think he's a shocking footballer. I don't think he's one of the best technically, but come on, man, would you care? If he's scoring goals like that, I wouldn't give a damn, mate. If he's scoring goals at that level, then fair play, man. But I thought I had a stinker, Keane. I thought it was a stupid
I think the disrespect for that is unbelievable. And I'll tell you why, because, when he was scoring 5 and scoring goals like that last season, he never got that. Roy Keane wouldn't say it then. He's had one... All right, he's had a couple of bad games, and the other thing is, right, and I'm gonna pick out Gary Neville on it as well, it don't look like he's played football. The reason he missed that chance is because the 2 central defenders are all over him like a rash, so he snatched it because he's up against it, and Roy Keane probably should know that a little bit when he was playing against Patrick Vieira. Not so much Gary Neville because he's the defender, so he's not at it but sometimes when you've got someone that's got your number, you're not quite at it, and I think that was an awful take by both of them, and surprise, Man United players. I wouldn't say that about when Van Nistelrooy missed open goals and things like that. And it's, listen, I'm going to be really honest with you. I think it'd be really interesting now when these 2 guys come up against Harry Kane, because Harry Kane, I think, is a little bit more intelligent, and has got a little bit more movement, a little bit more guile, than Haaland. And I think at the end of it, Haaland does rely on brute strength and things like that. And when he's got matched, he hasn't. Listen, when you're, how can you say, like physically better than most sorts, physically stronger than most people, what are you going to do? You're going to use that strength all the time. So, I think Haaland will go and go, right, okay, there's sometimes I'm not going to be able to out-muscle players. I'm going to have to make my game better. And I think that he will. He's still young. But the disrespect for Haaland, you know what I mean? Like, I think is incredible. Absolutely. And bordering on disgusting, really. I'm surprised that, Pep hasn't said anything about it. Like,
Yeah.
Do you know, it was a little bit like
Luke sums it up here by saying, still the Premier League's top scorer. I wouldn't slate him too much.
Yeah,
absolutely right.
Exactly.
Mad,
do you remember last season? There was a little bit of, whether it's jealousy or whatever. They're not as good as they are with Haaland in the team. They don't look so good with Haaland in the team and all that. Like, they win the treble, So I'm really like, listen, I'm not saying we're saying I emphasise this. I do agree with Roy Keane. He's a fantastic goal scorer. He's not the best footballer in the world. He's not as good as Harry Kane. I've said that, but to say that he's a League 2 player, no, I'm not having that.
Absolutely, I'm not either.
I'll take that now, Dan. Well, just quickly, would you take the League 2 player at Arsenal tomorrow?
I would take Haaland tomorrow, mate.
Will he get in Man United's team?
Facts, mate.
Facts.
Well, Goldbridge says he won't get in Liverpool's side, which is a madness, crazy thing to say, because of course he would, but I think he's trolling there. But listen, he's a top talent, mate. Top talent. We kept him quiet. All I will say, lastly, on this game is I've never seen so much anger and hatred put towards the side that drew 0-0, and I've never seen the other side who drew 0-0 not get mentioned once about how poor they were going forward. They had absolutely nothing at all at home against Arsenal, but it's all Arsenal. Oh, Arsenal were negative. What do you expect? They were like Sheffield United. What, you couldn't beat Sheffield United then? Man City can't beat Sheffield United. It's really weird, man. I don't get it. I feel like what it is, and I said this earlier, right? And I stand by this. Dave, the West Ham fan, has got on the blower to Frank, the Spurs fan, who has rung up Willie or Billy, the Chelsea fan, and they've gone, right. Unfortunately, it ain't happened, lads. They haven't lost 4-0 this time. What we're going to do? And one of them's gone, well, unfortunately, we're going to have to say they played all right in a defensive masterclass. No, we won't. You dare say that out your mouth. We will tell the world that they bottled it, that they were negative, that they parked the bus. We will not give them credit one bit. Don't let it enter your mouth, exit your mouth. And that's what's happened. They've all gone, Arsenal were negative, Arsenal were this, that. Doesn't matter the fact that Man City had one shot on target. It doesn't matter that Man City didn't have a sniff. Doesn't matter that Haaland got eaten up. Doesn't matter that KDB was off it. Doesn't matter that Pep didn't actually tactically do much to affect the game. It's all on Arsenal being negative. It's very bizarre, man. Like my WhatsApp groups were going mad. Arsenal couldn't beat City. The best team in the world. Saka got half of this. Oh my God, Arsenal were crap. It's hilarious. By Chelsea fans, by the way, looking up who can't even get in the top half of the table. I don't get it, Lee. I'm surprised that we rattle these fans so much because we haven't won a league in 20 years. You'd think we won everything compared to how these fans react. It's scary, man.
And this is why it's the Arsenal. A couple of things I've got just to want to point at that. You know, Martin Odegaard's been getting a lot of criticism, like, you know, in the last couple of I didn't turn up for the big game and all that, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, I even see a few people saying online that he bottled a tackle the other day, which I see. I didn't see that in the game, but he did pull out of a tackle, right? And he did. But I'll ask you the question, like, you know, I know it's not a good thing for him to pull out of a tackle, but would you rather him pull out of that tackle, which is like 75 yards from our goal, right? If he wins it, it ain't going to do that, and he gets injured and he's out for the season, or do you think that it's a good thing? What would you do?
Well, yeah, you're right. He's got to look at that as well, 100%.
So let's look at that, and instead of looking at the negative here, let's look at the positive here, right? And the second thing is, you know, I mean, he ain't turned out good. Look, we've had that conversation. He didn't play that well. We've had that conversation.
That's a fair conversation to have, but it weren't
just
him. KDB didn't turn up. Foden didn't turn up. Bernardo
exactly
didn't turn up.
That's my point. He's away from home at the Etihad, yeah? I haven't heard no one turn around and say, well, Foden didn't turn up or De Bruyne didn't turn up. It's Odegaard. Odegaard, this is the game for him to turn up. No, it wasn't. We're away from home. This is the game when a team structurally comes in and defends that your Fodens and your De Bruynes open up things. Now, looking back on the game today, also, the one pass that gets Trossard in, who's it from?
Facts.
So at the end of the day, I get what everybody's saying and all that, but let's just have a reality check of it all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather have Odegaard pulling out of a tackle like that, 75 yards from our goal. I know I'm gonna say I know it's not a good look. I'm saying that, like, you know, but at the end of the day, if he wins that ball and gets hurt, it ain't gonna do anything towards that game. But if he got hurt, it would do a lot of derailing towards us on there. Like, so I get it, and I you know. But listen, I've seen. I didn't even know Foden was playing the other day, Dan. Really, I didn't really know that he was playing.
He's invisible, mate. Subbed.
Yeah. So at the end of it, like, you know, and I will say this, you know, I did see someone say, Dan, you know, defending him a little bit, but he's played the last two internationals. Yeah, I agree with that. So has Odegaard. So has Declan Rice. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel a little bit funny about it all. Hey, I'm getting all my stuff out there, and I just think at the end of it, like, you know, look, listen, it's a good point for us. I don't care at the beginning of the season if you say to me you beat Liverpool Manchester City, and then you draw the other games, I'll take that. And I'll tell you what, if we go to Spurs, right, and we beat Spurs, I'll take that and all. Like beating Spurs and drawing with them in a season, I'll take that every day, every day and as well. Like, you know. So at the end of it, we move on from it now. I'm pretty sure the players have as well. Like I certainly have, because as soon as that game was finished, Dan, I'm looking forward to Wednesday.
100%, man. That's what we're looking at now. One lastly on this, which I absolutely agree with. Chaos has said, Arsenal win, we over celebrate. Arsenal draw, we should have won. And Arsenal lose, with bottle jobs. They can never win. It's absolutely true.
And that's how you got to look at it now. Enjoy it. Listen, let's enjoy what we do, you know, forget about what goes on outside. When you hear people like, and the perspective is, I'll go back to the Haaland thing. When you hear them pundits turning around and saying, oh, he's hardly played football, or he's a League Two player, what does that tell you?
There you go.
To me, he's doing something. He's upsetting people. And exactly
100%.
what we're...
Means you're doing something right, mate. We're relevant again and people hate it.
Exactly right. So we must be doing something right at the end of the day, and let's leave it at that.
There we go. Listen, we move on to Wednesday night, which is going to be a big game. Tomorrow night, sorry, I should say, against Luton. And I will say this now, people will look at this game and think this is going to be a nice game to have after Man City. And some might say it's fair, but a home game at Luton, who are fighting for their lives, who, let's be real, can turn up against teams. There's no doubt about it. I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park, judges. I'm going to put the team up in a minute, what I would go with. But what do you make of this game tomorrow night against Luton? Who, let's be real, I've respected a lot this season.
Listen, we said on the North London podcast, you know what I mean? I did say it'd be a tough game against Luton. You know, I think Tottenham would get over the line, but it would be a tough game. I expect the same for us tomorrow. I think that look, they've had an extra day off than us. Like, you know, that doesn't mean a lot in this game and all that. Like, you know, they've got a smaller squad than us to work with. So at the end of the day, it evens itself up. Like everybody's playing 3 games in 6 or 7 days this week. Like, you know, squads will come into play, and the bigger the squad, the better. And this is where it's very, very interesting. What Luton do. Luton, apparently, I was hearing on the radio today, were out on their feet in the last 10 minutes against Tottenham, and that's probably why they couldn't get it over the line, you know. So they might even be a little bit more jaded going into this game. They may have to make a few substitutions and a few changes as well. I don't know. But I tell you what, they give us one hell of a game at Kenilworth Road, and at the end of it, there was a stage when I thought we was just going to have to accept a point. Last minute goal. And listen, we went mad at the end of that game because we got that result. That's how hard it was. So I don't expect an easy game tomorrow. I do expect a little bit of rotation. It's really important that it's not too much at the end of the day. But listen, you know, good old Ronnie's back there. Good old Ronnie, he's back in the old chat there. That Tottenham have got West Ham today. The same turnaround as us, Sunday to Wednesday, Saturday to Tuesday for them. I don't think they'd be rotating too much, and normal West Ham. So why should we? I think maybe 1 or 2 to tinker with. I think if you look at it, Tottenham probably bring in Richarlison for somebody, and they'll leave out Werner for somebody. I think Arsenal will do the same. 3 changes for me. 3 changes.
Well, listen, let me bring up the team that I think, and we'll go through some questions to close the show because I know we ain't got long. Let me share what I think I would go. This is only what I would go with. Some people might disagree. So we'll go with what I think the team I think should be. David Raya in goal. I've gone with Tomiyasu at right back and left back Zinchenko. Same centre half pairing of Gabriel and Saliba. Right. Thomas Partey starts for me. Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard either side of him. Finally get to see Partey, Rice and Odegaard in midfield. And then a front 3 of Jesus right, Martinelli left, and up top Havertz. That still leaves Saka, Trossard, Jorginho, Ben White, Kivior all on the bench. That's what I would go with. Not massive changes, but just a slight tweak, judges.
Just a slight tweak there. And I'm not going to argue with that. Like, you know, I've gone with Raya in goal. I've continued with Ben White at right back because at the end of the day, he went on the international duty and everything like that. I know, and I think that he can do that. So I've gone for him there. 2 central defenders stay the same, and I've gone for left back. I think Tomiyasu. I think he needs a game, so I'm putting him in there. Partey definitely coming into the midfield with Declan Rice and Odegaard. I don't think we should be messing with that. Up front was a real difficult one for me. I personally think he'll play Saka, right? So I'm going to go Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus, and I'm going to rest Havertz for this game.
Interesting, man. So the only change you'd have would be Saka and Ben White, did you say?
No, so I've got Ben White, Partey coming in, and Tomiyasu at left back. So
Oh, that's right, yeah. See, the only reason I'm playing Zinchenko and Tomiyasu is because Tomiyasu will have to play on that right-hand side for Zinchenko to invert. Now, I know Ben White can do that job as well, but I would just think Tomiyasu and Zinchenko need some minutes, personally. And I think it's a good opportunity for them to both play at Luton, which I still don't think makes it massively weak, that defence, bringing those two in, man. But listen, we got some options now, Lee, haven't we? And it's the first time we've got some options, bro. It really is.
Listen, and good options. And at the end of it, like, you know, I listen, if you play Tomiyasu at right back and Shinchenko, I'm not going to argue that, because at the end of the day, that's still a fantastically good back four. You know, dare I say it, maybe like, you know, he might decide to rest Gabriel because he has been struggling with an injury, and putting Tomiyasu in that position and play Shinchenko. I don't know. Personally, I'm not messing too much with the defence. You know, like, if we can get goals, get a couple of goals in front and all that. Ronnie, we're not Tottenham Hotspur that was struggling against Luton for half the game. You know, if you want to go and talk about 1-1s, go over to Tottenham Hotspur TV, please. Right, you know. So I'm thinking maybe at the end of it, like, you know, let's go with a solid back four, and then get them off 20-25 minutes from the end, like, you know, because don't
you
forget,
make 5 subs now, Lee. Do you know what I mean?
Say again.
You can make 5 subs now, so you get the 5.
Yeah,
players
you
off,
can
you
make
know
5
what I mean?
subs. You can do that. And the other thing is, don't forget, like, you know, you've got not that much of a turnaround to Saturday evening as well, like, you know. So we've got. I know it's difficult. You got to play one game at a time, but there has got to be some sort of thing. Well, we have got Brighton, and then obviously, Dan, thinking about that, after Brighton, we've got we play Saturday, and then we play Tuesday against Bayern Munich. Then we have a few days off. So I think 1 or 2 I'm tinkering with, like, you know what I mean? And I think where's the energy of the team come from, like, you know, where's the most work come from? I believe midfield and forwards, you know, and wide players. So I think that's where the rotation will come. But I'm really, you know, would be, how can I say this? I'm not going to, I'd be very, very nervous if there's loads of changes. I'm just saying on that, like, you know what I mean? But there's got to be a few somewhere along the way.
Fair play, man. Fair play. Listen, let's go through as quickly as we can, because we ain't got enough long for these questions. The first one is a super chat, so it goes to the front of the queue, which is Atlantic Zoo. Says, against the best teams, we are weak at left back, striker, and need a better third midfielder alongside Rice and Odegaard. Jorginho is poor out of possession. I think what he's done there is highlight some of the positions that we could potentially upgrade in the summer league. I do agree with that. I think a striker is someone that we look at as definite. I don't think the left backs really I don't think any of them have held down that position at left back. I think Kivior was there for now, but we have seen Zinchenko there, Tomiyasu there, and before that, Kieran Tierney there. And I think in midfield is definitely something we got to look at, you know. For me, if we were to bring in 2 players that would excite me in the summer, it'd be De Jong and Isak. They're the 2 that I would look at and go, "Whoa, yeah, that's exciting." And I can see why striker and midfielder are being looked at. Jorginho poor out of possession. I think Jorginho's done really well when he's come in at Arsenal, to be fair, and I think he's been a good signing. But Thomas Partey, when fit, I think is definitely the starter there. But that's what I'd say about that super chat league.
Yeah, like, listen, I think that it's a fair point. I think the left back maybe, but, you know, like, don't forget Timber would have been probably in that position there, and maybe not as weak. Yep. I don't know. It looked like that was a sort of position that he was going to be playing. So we don't know what's going to go there. I do agree with the midfield. I think Jorginho has done fantastically well for us, but for long term and you know, week in, week out, maybe that needs to be looked at. I look at that when Thomas Partey come on, that little pass in between the lines to Odegaard that gets Trossard through. That's 3 passes. We've missed that. We haven't had that, like that Thomas Partey pass. So you've got to either go with Thomas Partey again next season, or you've got to upgrade and get someone that can do those passes and pass through those lines. I thought that pass, by the way, he picks the ball up, goes away from Haaland, and then puts it in like Ivan Needle, and we are then in 2 passes through. And when you think about it, that's Manchester City, Dan, and that is in one half of football, 50 yards of football that was done. Cut them open like a knife through butter. So I do think that's something we look at there. And of course, the centre forward. And I'm looking at the centre forward, an upgrade. If you was to bring in Isaac, whoever you want to bring in, it's a player for Eddie. That's the improvement that you need. So I think at the end of the day, Eddie and Nelson are going, and upgrades on them two would be great. I looked at that bench. We done it yesterday. Every one of them really, really good that could come on and do something and change things. Apart from 1 or 2, that's only 1 or 2 now, Dan. And at the end of it, you have to look at it. You only can get 5 on anyway. So it's very, very difficult. But I just think 3 players in, 3 players out. That's how I see it. That's with El Nini and Cedric that are not even on that bench no more. But you're still going to have injuries. You're still going to have a couple of injuries that get those players in. So I agree with that. 3 players, I think, 3 really big players, and I think the left back is something to look at. We don't know what's going to happen with Timber. Tomiyasu can cover both, so that's a very, very good thing for us. So maybe that left back could be one of them.
Interesting, man. This one comes in from Shaitanya. Says, big up, lads. Would you take Rodrigo from Madrid with Mbappe arriving? He can play all positions across the front 3, and we must start acting like a big club. That'd be a wonderful signing, but I really don't know that Real Madrid will get rid of him. I think Rodrigo will definitely want to play first team football, Shaitanya. With Mbappe coming, it's going to be difficult for him, but at the same time, just takes one injury, and then all of a sudden he's back in. And it might even be, some people are suggesting this, that Mbappe plays down the middle for Madrid, and Vinny Jr. and Rodrigo keep their place. So I don't think I can see that one happening personally. But I do think we need a cover for Saka, if I'm honest. Lee, I'll let you take this one from Kai. It says, why was so much pressure put on Arsenal to win against City at home? But when City host Arsenal, there isn't any pressure being applied to City for not winning.
Oh, the reason of that is because City have been there and done it all before. There's that to it and all that. And I will state this, and I'll say it again and again. Manchester City will never be as big as Arsenal.
Facts.
A lot of Arsenal fans are in the Man City end this on Sunday. Lots of Arsenal fans, and there were still empty seats. End of.
Facts. Nifan, I'll take this one. Says, hi guys, should we sign Isak by giving Newcastle Ramsdale plus money, 35 million in cash? Listen, Nifan, I think we're going to have to do a lot better than that. I don't think they're going to accept anywhere near that. I was talking to a Newcastle fan yesterday who says, well, if it's 100 million for Rice, it's near to 150 for this lad. The guy looks elite. The only problem about it is his injury record isn't great.
Yeah, and that's why he's not elite then. That's why he's not elite.
Exactly.
That is not why he's elite, and that's why it won't be nowhere near that money. You know what I mean? I'm talking. How much did they pay for him? 65.
I think it was between 60 and 70, and
so
I think that was euros. But I like the player.
I like him. He's young. You know what I mean? I look at him and say 80 million plus.
That's about what I'm thinking because of the injuries. And the other thing, Lee, Real Sociedad, him and Odegaard together. That was pretty good,
and I think that that's something that they can look at, and I think a bargaining tool in that would be Ramsdale. And listen, I'm going to say this now. Everybody knows I'm a massive fan of Aaron Ramsdale. If he goes to Newcastle, that would be a fantastic move for him as well. Big club.
Facts.
And I hope that he gets the move that he deserves. And
I'd rather see him go Newcastle than Man United and Chelsea. And that's not just because I hate Man United and Chelsea. It's actually because I think they're a mess. And I don't think it'll do Ramsdale any favours. So, Newcastle will look like they're on the up, man. So that's fair.
I want him to go to a club that's going to push for Champions League. And if it's Newcastle, and wherever club he goes, can I say that a little bit more? I don't really like Newcastle that much because of what's happened over the last couple of years, but I prefer them. If Newcastle are playing Man United and Chelsea, I want them to win. You know what I mean? So, and I do want Aaron Ramsdale to be successful.
So do I.
So if by going to Chelsea and Manchester United, for instance, I find it very hard for me to want him to be successful. But he leaves with my blessing. But at Newcastle, I could really be happy for him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't mind Newcastle. They're actually a side I quite like, and I know that sounds mad because you're going up against them potentially in the next few years' rivalry, because I think they will be up there all the time due to their money. But I don't actually mind them. I'll throw this one to you, Lee. This comes in from Bruce, who says 3 wins and 2 draws at least wins us the Champions League, but we need to be almost perfect to win the Premier League. Which path to you is easier? Arsenal need to win 2 home games left in the Champions League and Wembley also.
I've said it. I've said it and I'll state it again. Like, you know what I mean? The Champions League is easier to win at this stage because you can win 3 games. You've got to win 3 games and draw 2. So basically, you've got to win at home against Bayern Munich and draw. And then you've got to win against Manchester City or Real Madrid and draw. You know what I mean? Like, you at this moment in time, you're asking us to win on Wednesday, innit? It's Tuesday today, innit? Win on Wednesday tomorrow, then go and beat Brighton, then go and beat Bayern Munich, then go and beat Aston Villa, then go and draw with Bayern Munich, then go and beat Wolves away, then go and get something against Tottenham. It's going to be really, really hard, you know what I mean? And at the end of it, Dan, let's be really honest with you. Look, if Arsenal are to win 3 games and draw 2 games in the Champions League, they win the trophy, yeah? Let's get that right, yeah? That's how it works. We can win all of these 9 games and still not win the league.
Oh, no, it's mad.
At this moment in time. So it is very easy at this moment in time, like, you know, to no one's saying it. No trophy's easy to win. We know that. We're going to find out how hard it is to win trophies at this level, you know. You know, if Arsenal were to win the league, Dan, right? Let's see, like, you know, this be honest about this now. If we looking at it, we'd have won 17 games and drawn 1 in our last 18 games, and that might not be enough for us to win the league.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's mad. It is, but that's
crazy.
what we're facing. That's what we're facing at the moment. That is what we're facing.
And this is the thing, right? People say to me, like, bottlers, or you ain't won it, how can't you win it? Whoever wins the league this year, you've got to go, I salute you. Because, you know, let's say we win all our 9 games and Liverpool win the league. We've got to go, wow, Jurgen Klopp, you're unreal. You're unreal.
100%.
You know what I mean? You have to do that. And I'll be pissed off. Of course I will. You know what I'm like? I hate it when we lose, right? But sometimes you've got to sit back and go, what more could we have done there? Jesus Christ. Yeah, we could have beaten Fulham and West Ham. We can talk about all that. But you look at it and you think, but they lost games as well. And they were just unreal. And this is I don't know. It's so hard, man.
They've lost 2 games. If they are to win the league, for Liverpool to win the league, they've got to win all their games, yeah? That means they've lost 2 games, one of them against Tottenham, which they should never have lost, and us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and in our run, you're saying, oh, well, you've got to win 8 out of 18 games, you've got to win 17, and the one you draw against is Man City away, and that's still not good enough for you to win a title. Bring me the Champions League. Thank you very much.
Listen,
tough.
I mean, they've City and Liverpool drew 7. We've drew 5. That means we've lost more. We've lost 4 games. Liverpool have lost twice. City have only lost 3 times because they drew those games. Yeah. That's the reason that we're right up there, you know. So fair play, like that's how it goes.
Argue it.
You can't, man. Absolutely, you can never argue at the table. This one's going to be for you, mate, because I don't know that this was my time. Lee Highbury Hall says, I've done a bit off subject. You probably don't remember this. Does Lee? Do you recall the bizarre Clive Allen transfer when he was at the club for about a month before being sold to bring in Kenny Sansom? Yes,
I do. Yeah, we signed him and shipped him off to Crystal Palace as part of the deal. Now, there's the story going into that is that I think he was at QPR. QPR wouldn't sell to Crystal Palace because they were or it was like something like that. So what we done was we bought Clive Allen because we wanted Kenny Sansom. So we done it that way. Like it was something like that. Like, and I remember it. Never played for Arsenal. There's pictures of, if you go back, Clive Allen with an Arsenal kid, but he never played for Arsenal. That's why he always hates the Arsenal as well. Like, you know, so yeah. And he had this dream move to Arsenal and ended up playing at Crystal Palace. I think he only played at Crystal Palace for a year as well. Didn't go well for him, like, you know, before he moved on again, like, you know. So yeah, there was many reasons for that, and we picked up Kenny Sampson, who was, I think the best left back at the time, probably him and I wouldn't. I think it's very hard to split him and Ashley Cole. I think I'm more Kenny Sampson. You've met him, I think because he went to Chelsea, I'm a little bit more like
I think when you look at it, you know it's Ashley Cole, but you want to say Kenny Sansom because of the way he left. But like Kenny Sansom, what a lovely guy as well, by the way, absolute legend. I've got to bring this one to you as well, Lee, because BPTV is asking. I've always been curious. What level did Lee play at back in the day?
Someone else on the questionnaire, did I play for Aylesbury? I never played for Aylesbury, but I played against them. So I played like quite high and semi-pro, Ryman Premier. Didn't get into the South Conference, unfortunately, and weren't conference level, but like Premier League was the highest I got. But so I played against Aylesbury on a few occasions, and by then they was a good side back in the day. I think they've dropped a little bit now, if I'm not mistaken. But back in the day, they was a good side and well supported, So yeah, there you go.
Last two questions of the night come from Aaron. This first one says, has the City result changed who you want in the Champions League? Not for me. I want Man City. I don't want Real Madrid. I'd rather take in the Champions League a team that's won it once as opposed to a team that's won it 14 times. But I do think when we show that performance at the weekend, I think it proves that we can get across the line against Man City in two legs. Because let's have it rightly. If this was a Champions League, 2 fixtures against Man City, we'd be going through because we beat them at the end.
Yeah, that's like. By the way, block Mark Taylor, will you please? 3rd Division Sunday morning league. Block him, please.
Big up, Mark, man. We love Mark.
Listen, for me personally, I don't really want to go up to Manchester on a midweek game. For be honest, I've been there a few times. I'd like to go to Real Madrid, especially with their new stadium, everything like that. So I'm actually feeling, from my point of view, I like to go to Real Madrid. Whoever we get's very, very tough. Either one, very, very tough.
100%, mate. 100%. Last question of the night. This is quite an interesting one. From Aaron says, if you could relegate a club, who would it be? It's difficult, that. I'm not going to say.
I'll say it now. For me, it's got to be Chelsea or Man City.
There we go. Same as me.
For the reasons that we all know, you know what I mean? If I'd be really honest, in a ideal world, it would be Spurs. But as much as I dislike Spurs and everything there, I have to say I respect Spurs because they are a proper football club. They do it the right way and everything like that. And
the North London derby's class.
Yeah, they've got a big fan base. They're not like the other two. If Spurs were to take the money away from it, Spurs would still be where Spurs are. Let's be really honest with it. Take the money away from those teams. They've been up and down more than the whore's knickers. Manchester City and Chelsea, let's be honest, So for me, one of them two.
Do you know what? I'm going to go Chelsea to relegate them, right? Because I can't stand what they are in the last 2 decades, right? And how they've got where they have got. But if Manchester City are found guilty for all that stuff they're investigated for, I'd rather go Man City get down there because that will really do me in. With the last decade, or the last 2 decades of Chelsea, it will frustrate me if they've cheated to win it. The last decade of Man City, it will really annoy me if they cheated. So it'll be one of those two for me. But I'll say Chelsea for now, innocent until proven guilty. If City are found guilty, I want them gone out of the league, man, because it's just ridiculous what they've done. So that's the way I see it.
I'll ask you a question before we go quickly. It's like I'm watching the Championship now, right? It's fantastic, you know what I mean?
Oh, unbelievable season.
But part of me wants Leeds to come up because I believe they're a massive club. You know what I mean? I don't want Everton to go down because, as far as I'm concerned, back in the hour, they're a massive club.
Yeah.
I look at Ipswich. They've been near and better. Always been a big.
I want them to go up.
I like them to go up for different reasons. I don't look at Chelsea as a big club. Back in the day, I never looked at Chelsea and go, "Oh, they're a big club. I want them to come up." Do you see what I'm saying? Now, I'll be really honest. There were times when Manchester City were in the lower things. I thought, yeah, they're a big club. I'd like them to come up, like, you know what I mean? But I really do feel like I've never actually looked at it and thought, oh, like, yeah, you know, get Chelsea up because they're a big club, you know. I'm going to be honest, I did with Man City. So I'm probably going to go along with you with the Chelsea thing, Dan. I'm going to say Chelsea. But there is something about the way Manchester City, like 115 charges, they have took the mickey a little bit, haven't they, really?
Facts, man. Listen, I'm with you, and that's why I'll stick with Chelsea. Man City, likewise, big club. But when you look at it, like Leeds, Forest, I want them to stay up because they're a big club. They're good for the Premier League. With Everton, I agree with you. I'd be mad if they go down first time they ever would have gone down. But when you look at it, they kind of deserve to now because of all the mess they've basically ruined their football club from the top. Like, they have spent unbelievable amounts of money on absolute crap. Like, I cannot believe how bad their side has been for the last 5 years. When you look at the money that was spent on it, like, how much money are they wasting on talent? And I just think when you run that badly, when you've wasted that much money, you can't look at yourself. You can't look at anyone but yourselves and go, this was us that did this to us. And that's where I'm at. Now, I don't really mind Burnley and Sheffield United being out of the league. They didn't do nothing to me. But I want Leeds to go up. I want Ipswich Town to go up because I'm an Essex boy and they're over the border from me. And I've always followed their results because most of my mates support Ipswich growing up. Because it was, if you weren't into kind of a London club, which I was, then you were over towards Essex or Suffolk border. Then it was Ipswich and Norwich, right? And for me, that's why I'd like to see Ipswich do well. But yeah, Leeds, massive club. Leicester as well, by the way, Lee. I mean, they're going a bit of a crumble at the moment, but picked it back up yesterday. But Leicester are a big club now. You know, Leicester have gone and won the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? And been competing at the time. They've gone down in their own kind of right through COVID problems and stuff. But yeah, you're right about that in terms of big clubs for sure, man. 100%.
Yeah, no, I agree with you with Everton. Like, you know, I've always felt we're a big club and whatever. But if they were to go down, that's on them. That is on them.
Absolute facts, man. Listen, we're going to leave it there, people. Thank you all so much for your super chats. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for hitting the like button. What like are we on now? Let's have a look. There's nearly 500 of you that are in here, and we've only, come on. We've not even hit 100 likes. What's going on, people? Smash the like button. It's free. Smash the subscribe button. It's free. Come follow myself on Football's 12th Man. It's free. Do the same over there. I'll be back tonight, actually, 9 o'clock. Myself, Kenny Ken. We've got Brandon on. We've got Guna Lee on as well. So make sure you come follow it over there. And have that on while the football's on in the background because obviously West Ham Spurs is tonight, so I'm sure you'll be watching that as well. So yeah, be back over there later. Lee's off out tonight to chill out, so that'll be good, mate. Enjoy your evening, and yeah, mate, I'll let you see us out, Lee.
No worries. Listen, enjoy tonight. I'll take it like, you know, you'd be all watching the West Ham Spurs game. You know, get your hammers out and banging a few nails and whatever. But listen, enjoy the night and listen. Wednesday night, it's a big one. We're back at the Emirates. It seems like a very, very long time since we've been at the Emirates. I can't remember that. It was the Porto game was the last time.
So, and I didn't go to that one, so it's been even longer for me.
Even longer for you.
What are you predicting? Sorry, what are you predicting for that tomorrow?
2-0.
Oh, I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to go 3-0. We're out of here, people. Take it easy. Big up the Arsenal. Take care.